Hello. I'm much surprised that no one has brought up Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged in talking about the Venezuela situation. Well, nobody that I've heard anyway. Venezuela society has gone down precisely the road she predicted and almost at the same breakneck speed. Even to the extent that many of that country's brightest and best have left. The only thing she was wrong about was that the brightest and best haven't found a secret place to hide and won't come back to save the country after its inevitable total collapse. The people who've gone will make their lives in other countries, contributing to them. The people who remain, those with any intelligence and the spark of creativity, will disappear one way or the other, either into camps or prisons or just assassinated. Watching what's happening in Venezuela is like watching a star collapsing in on itself. It was bright and hot and energetic, then it overreached itself and started cannibalising its own internal resources. Now its energy gone, almost literally, Venezuela will collapse inwards, crush itself, and then reach a point of dark stasis in which it will stay for years, possibly generations. Certainly as long as Maduro lives. And when he goes, all the institutions of government and civil discourse will have been corrupted beyond rebuilding. A couple of generations of socialist serfs will grow up and be as unable to rule themselves democratically afterwards as the Russians have proved to be. It's a depressing thought. But what's even more depressing is that the leader of the Labour Party here in the UK, a dictator in waiting called Jeremy Corbyn, is silent. He praised Venezuela roundly during Chavez's lifetime, even though in his latter years, when things started to fall apart, Chavez was starting to make a bit of a career of anti-Semitism as well as economic vandalism. The two tend to go together by the looks of things. And even after Chavez's death, when the economic problems were already quite bad and only too obvious, Corbyn made a hagiographic speech about the great leader and his legacy of peace, plenty and equality for all. Since then, there's been no condemnation about the wasted lives, the crippled opportunities and the oppression of Maduro's regime. I know a lot of people under 25 voted for Corbyn in great numbers during the last general election over here, and in doing so they've poised British democracy on a knife edge. And for some reason, although he's backtracked on many of his election promises, Corbyn is still idolised by a definitely significant section of British society. To put it in an American context, it would be as if Bernie Sanders was on the very edge of getting into the White House, except Corbyn is much, much worse than Sanders, and the British government is much easier to push around than the American system, which, so far as I can work out, seems calculated to stop the president doing almost everything except pardoning turkeys just before Christmas. It sounds overdramatic to talk about Corbyn gathering enough of his student acolytes to get into power and then people in Britain starving through a resulting economic collapse. It sounds impossible. But Venezuela was richer than Britain at one point, I believe. And nothing is impossible. Trump won, didn't he?